goodness, what a play!
Fumble the ball, and Denver has recovered. Oh, my!
Dempsey kicks, it's on the way! It is! Good! It's good!
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions!
Oh, he caught it! Oh! Unbelievable!
Well, look who is back. Podcast is live again. Sorry, folks, for last week's bye week, but we are back again after I guess it's been 2 weeks since we've done a normal setup podcast. Last time we watched the games. Welcome aboard to episode 10. We're going into week 8. How are things going, Phil?
They're frustrating with work right now, Jam. We got people who are claiming we're not expert economists and we should listen to them, and I just want to, punch them in the back of the head. But
who's claiming this? It's news to me.
Yeah, we've been fighting with them for 4 years. The last week has just been even worse. But what I realized in the intro, every time it says Denver has recovered, I'm not thinking about the Broncos. I'm thinking about the Las Vegas Gamblers and their 4-game winning streak.
I feel like I'm thinking about like Denver had some kind of a alcohol abuse issue and he's recovered, and we're celebrating that as we should. But yeah, it's true though. In Ben Wyatt, the Las Vegas Gamblers have been getting it done. He did point it out to us that it would happen. So he's calling his shot, and things have gotten pretty damn interesting, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely a close race in that division. That like Las Vegas is currently in first. West Waco, no one hears from Chase, but his team has been doing pretty well. And Houston's an underdog, but still within the realm of possibility. San Antonio's all but officially eliminated, but
when you put something north of $90 million on 2 players and both players are out, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to really make a dent. He's gonna play spoiler a little bit because Christian McCaffrey's gonna come back and he's probably gonna have some annoying wins against teams who need the stretch to make the playoff run. So it's interesting. So how do you want to start this off, Phil? Do you want to get into should we do FOMFA first?
We can do FOMFA first, but before we do any FOMFA, the first thing I want to say is your internet connection is garbage again. This has been pretty consistent over the last month. I don't know what you've done differently, but just to let you know.
I'm going to try and do something and take me off, but you should still be connected. So let's see what happens.
All right. Well, hopefully Jam can fix his problems here. We'll see what occurs. But while Jam's sorting out his stuff, I went into the FOMFA history, and I did a little digging today to see if I could pull out any information of interest. And what I was trying to find here is who is the biggest, within a division, what is the biggest discrepancy of wins and losses of all time? What is the most lopsided series we can find? And it's worth noting that hopefully it's better now.
Yeah.
In terms of the lopsided series, there's one division, Jam's division, the Rice division, where there aren't a lot of lopsided games. Like no team's record is more than 7-4 against another team. It's been pretty even over the years. Each of the other divisions has one person just absolutely dominating someone else since 2015.
Oh, really?
So my game for you, Jam, is going to be guess what that team pairing is.
What the team pairing is. Okay.
Team pairing. We'll start with the easiest one. We'll start with my division.
Your division. Okay. So
what the record is 10-1.
10-1. So this is a team that has played another team 11 times, won 10 times.
Well, it's all within division. So
they played each other. They played each other 10 times.
11 times, yeah. 11 times, yeah. So the losing team has to be the current Cloud to Ground because of how terrible they were before Jason took over. So who has been beaten up on Cloud to Ground? Yeah, I know you've won the title. What's that? Yeah, I know everyone has. And I know that you won the league to start things off, but then you had a couple lean years there. We had some luck hit you in bad ways.
Is it the Sixers? It's either the Sixers or Lucas Shies, because Lucas Shies was always fairly competitive until this year. I'm gonna go with your team.
It is my team. 10-1 against Jason's team /
including
whatever the hell it was in the past. Interesting note about my team when I was looking into it. There's one team I have never beaten.
Really?
There's one team, and naturally it's in the other conference because you don't play them often. But I am apparently 0-3 against Israel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you tend to play him early in the year?
My only loss this year came to him, and the other 2 times I played him, I lost those too. He seems to be. I just can't beat him. I don't like it.
He's got your number. He ends up in the playoffs against you. It's gonna be dangerous.
And all right, well, because we're not doing your division, because as I mentioned, there's no real discrepancies.
Yeah.
But interestingly, for your team, there's one team that you're 6-0 against.
I'm gonna guess that it's Turret Rocks.
No, because Turret Rocks, you know.
No, 6-0 again. Oh, sorry, 6-0 against. That's stupid. But I definitely know that I have a decent record against Turret Rocks. Like, it's not just dominant. 6-0 against. It's got to be a team that I keep beating then. Marines? No, I've lost to the Marines.
It would also every team has played 11 games against their in-division opponents, 6 games against their conference but not in-division opponents.
Okay.
Or give or take, because there's still a few
Oh, okay. So this could be someone else in the conference.
It'd be someone else in the conference, but not your division. You're 6-0 against them.
Hokage?
Jayville. You are 6-0 against Palestine.
Oh, against Jayville. Wow.
All right. Anyway, the next division, there's also a 10-1 team. This one I found interesting.
Okay.
So in the most competitive division in the league, the white division, 10-1. We got one pairing of teams who's 10-1.
One pairing of teams that is 10-1. I'm gonna say that Ryan's team is the winning team in this pairing. Raw Mexicans?
That's right. You're 2 for 2.
Really?
Ryan has beaten David 10 out of 11 games, or at least David and David and Zach combined.
Yeah, David for the last 2 years.
Yeah, David has never beaten him. Zach beat him once and retired after that.
He just left the league. Yeah, Ryan always puts up a competitive effort. Like, he's clearly good at this, even though it doesn't seem like the team that he puts together should be at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, eventually this year it actually looked better. I think he got sick of us just making fun of his team and was like, "Fine, I'll fix it." Ryan's he generally knows what he's doing. He makes a lot of good signings, good value signings. His biggest weakness is just some running back will come in mid-season and just be there as a replacement. Have a few good games, and Ryan's like, "I'm signing him to 2025." So
he does tend to do that because. And what's weird, because he doesn't like spending a lot of money on players in free agency. He has a very, very hard stance against that. But then he'll extend the dude who's on the Texans now. What's his name?
Well, David Johnson at the time, there was at least an argument. He had a good history behind him. But
who's the other guy then?
The Kansas City Damian Williams, he got a big contract.
Right. Yeah.
And Ty Montgomery, who doesn't have anymore, but he gave him a 2023 deal or something.
Wow.
I think he's probably learned his lesson at this point, but those are always interesting.
Where is Ty Montgomery now? In the NFL?
New Orleans, I think. I don't know. So the most interesting pure destruction. Pure destruction came out of the Woodson division.
The Woodson
division. Team. Again, these guys play each other twice a year. This year, there's one game problem that they've played, so that's where the 11 comes from. 11-0.
11-0.
There's one pairing of teams here that is 11-0. And, well, it's probably not going to be too hard to figure out the O. The 11 might be a little more challenging.
I think the O is probably Hokage. It could be Jayville, but I'm going to say Hokage just because of the history. The winner of this. I'm going to go out left field, but I'm going to say Sandwich.
3 for 3.
Really?
Chris has never, in the history of the league, 2 games every season, he has never lost to that team.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah,
That's
that.
That's 4 seasons. 5 seasons? 4 seasons.
This is the 6th season because we started in 2015.
Oh shit, so. You're right. Wow, Jesus, this league's been going on a while. Jeez. Well, Chris always had like a pretty good. He's had like, I mean, as long as I've been in the league, until this year, and somehow is still competing. Like he had like a very top-heavy talent stack type of team that were all making a lot of money, so they were hard to beat. And I know that he was the bane of my existence because I was always trying to get the wild card over his team and never did. So wow, complete domination.
11-0 is still hard to achieve, regardless of how good your team is. I mean, as you like, there have been a lot of good teams in the history of the league. No one else has a perfect record of that many games against anyone. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's good work there, Chris.
And currently, Chris is sitting at 4-3, tied for second place, and he's rebuilding.
That's interesting. I'll say that it is interesting, and it's not a lucky 4-3 either. His points scored are pretty much in line with Jayville and Team Marines. Yeah,
and he's now kind of embraced it because he made the trade today for Ben Roethlisberger. Like he's actually trying to improve and just, I guess, kind of go for it.
I mean, I'm looking at his roster, and his running backs are in a lot of trouble. But Stephon Diggs has, he got paid a lot of money, but he has been performing.
Is he the best performing out of the wide receivers that were signed?
No,
because there's a lot of big money wide receivers.
100% Lockett. He's literally one in the league at this point.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm looking at this, and it's hopefully Antonio Brown might get him some points soon.
Yeah, he's got Claypool.
Claypool had one gigantic game, and that was about it, though. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know how this team is scoring points, but it is. A lot of them, I guess, are coming from good performances out of Ryan Fitzpatrick and Gardner Minshew. So adding Roethlisberger is an interesting approach because it's not really the biggest need.
Well, Fitz is gone as the starter, and Gardner Minshew has some injury right now. So
that's true.
And Ben's relatively inexpensive for a quarterback too.
I'm looking, and it seems like a lot of the success of this team is due to 2 cornerbacks who have just destroyed the league. Marlon Humphrey and Carlton Davis. I think they're 1 and 2 in terms of cornerbacks.
Carlton Davis has been doing some good work for me over in Ben Wyatt.
Yeah, so they are really supporting this team, I think. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. I mean, I'm rooting for a good race. I'm I don't have really a favorite. I'm more like who was it in The Simpsons? Was it Skinner who was like, oh, or was it Ned who was like, don't you have any nonpartisan?
I can't remember.
Let's have a good, clean.
What's interesting though is we've ended up with some pretty competitive divisions where it looked like it was going to be some clear front runners, and I think those front runners are still there. In the global conference, it's going to be like you either win the conference or win the wild card, and the same for Jason. I think
we're definitely favorites there.
Yeah, but global, white division, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, and 3-4. Even Cyril's team isn't a complete dumpster fire at this point.
Cyril's team, they've been picking it up. They've been doing well.
3-game win streak.
Now, you're mentioning this is more competitive in a lot of places than expected. I forgot what I wanted to do here was do a bit of a let's look back at the preseason projections, not just what I've updated them to. And I forgot to send you these, so let me.
Send them over. That sounds really interesting, actually.
So I'm just sending the FOMFA ones now. I'll send the other ones later.
So is this preseason? Post Jason deciding to go for it, because that's very important. Okay.
Yeah, I made sure that's why I have preseason projections on September 3rd, September 9th, September 10th. I literally did them on, one day after another because there's something big that happened.
Yeah. I was going pretty nuts. All right, I got it now. I'll pull it up. Download. Let's bring it into the website. Yeah, I'm interested in this because this definitely makes a difference as to I think I'm trying to think back to the discussions that we're having at the time about which teams look like they're primed to go for it and whatnot.
My projections cannot handle Mark in any season, in any league. The past 2 years, they've said, "Oh yeah, Mark's team Jam is going to win." So North this, and then Mark just destroys everyone. Then this year, in Ben Wyatt, it said, "Yeah, Mark's team is useless. Don't worry about it. He's in first place in his division." Well, in this league, the projection, as you'll see soon, it was, you know what? Maybe there's something to this guy. Years of underrating him. We'll say he gets first place, and now Mark's team is competing for the first draft pick in the league.
All right. So on that note, let's put it up. There we go. Want to take us through this a little bit? Wow, you didn't mark it 9 and 4.
That is quite wrong. But you look at the other divisions, and these are not looking good so far. I mean, it's got that Wario was right, that Jayville is sort of middle of the pack contending. Sandwich, though, look at the points scored projections. Look at the record. Sandwich was projected to be the worst team in the entire league. Yeah. Like, worse than yours, worse than Death Valley, worse than Luis. Just genuine garbage. And, he's competing.
Yeah. Even like the points scored is so low in that's crazy.
Yeah, whereas FF Village, it's like you might need a few pieces, but you're contending, and they're 0-7.
Yeah, 0-7. Yeah,
that has not gone well.
That's not even in the win confidence range.
No, it's not even close. Well, I mean, if they can pick up 3 wins before the end of the year, it gets into that range. But so that division hasn't been great.
Yeah.
Next,
you called the winner, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, the next one also, like, Colorado has been destroying. Colorado is 6-1. They're tied with me for the best record in the league right now, and projection, 7-6. They're not going to beat Mark. Mark, however, has a better record than his points dictate. His record is 3-4, but his potential points are the lowest in the league. Second lowest to Death Valley at the moment.
Wow.
So it is not going well for Mark so far.
Yeah, I didn't realize his team was doing that poorly. Like, my potential points are higher. It's crazy.
Yeah, so the projections are not looking good in this conference. The other conference, on the other hand, other conferences looking a little better. Jason and I, to this point, are still projected to be somewhere around 10-3 each, I think. So that's looking about right. Death Valley was projected at 4-9, but they also had a quarterback at this point. So now them ever getting a win seems tough, where they throw no one out there to quarterback.
Do they not have a quarterback?
No, they used to have Drew Brees, and then I took them, and then they were relying on like injury backups for a while. But at this point, they don't have a quarterback.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Come on, for the spirit of the game, Chris.
You can't expect, like, if there's someone available in free agency, I think you sign them, obviously. Yeah. But I'm not going to expect a rebuilding team to give up assets for a quarterback just so they can lose by slightly less.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Luis is currently 2-5, projected to be 4-9, so that seems right on point. Or projected
3-10. Yeah.
Pretty close. We'll see what happens over the end of the season, but that division's looking pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then the other one, that was looking to be a battle between Watt and Cotton, and David has outperformed the original projections, but
snuck his way in there.
David's projections were also always a little weird. And if I recall correctly, it was sometime around like week 2 or week 3, we realized there was a problem with one team linking to another team by accident that I had to fix the division. So I don't know if that was impacting things here, but you see the points, and Cotton, Ron Mexico, turned down for Watt, all right in the exact same thing.
Yeah. Actually, if I remember correctly, I think it affected David's team.
Yeah, I think it was David and Ryan's, if anything. But so I mean, this conference is looking good. I mean, they have racked up a few more losses than you would sort of expect them to at this point. They've all lost a game against the other conference. Even within the conference, they've all lost a game so far against my division.
Yeah.
So, they're getting some more losses I think were anticipated, but I mean, it doesn't matter too much. So this side's looking a little better, but that's the preseason ones. And should we go into what the current projections are?
All right, let's take a look. Bam.
So as you can see, FF Village and Death Valley have been updated.
Wow.
Now, interestingly enough, the projections are really hanging on to Mark's team.
Yeah.
Mark
I really believe.
You're going to come back. You got this. You got this.
They have not stopped believing.
It's recognized Colorado is the clear winner at this point, but still hoping that Turret Rocks get some more wins in there. But yeah, I mean, it's easy to project have the win totals and points total and everything look better at this point because it accounts for what you've already done. Mm-hmm. So if you subtract out what's been done and look at this, it's like that's a little more interesting. It's saying, for instance, that Death Valley will never win a game. That's easy enough to do the math on there. Yeah. That Luis is going to win 2 of the remaining 6 games. Jason and I are going to, I'm going to lose 2, and Jason is going to lose 1 of the remaining 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you hear these projections, and you're like, yeah, that sounds reasonable. Mark's being that 6 and 7 versus current 3 and 4. It's a projection that he's going to split the remaining series 3 and 3.
Yeah.
That sounds optimistic to me, but I mean, he does have some good receivers, so.
Yeah, like he's got a shot against my team, obviously. Like we're going to play each other again, but I don't see him having a shot against Colorado or Team Marine, so that's already 2. Who else did he play in the schedule?
Remaining?
Yeah. Let's pull up the schedule here. It's really curious. Turn down for what? Climb to ground. Team Marines. Turret Rocks. Okay, so they'll play Luis this week. Okay, so that's winnable. Wario.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Wario probably not. Hokage, winnable. Then Marine. Yeah, so it could be possible.
Then it's like loss, win. Those all of those losses could be wins. The wins could be losses. But in terms of likelihood, that makes sense. That
might come true. He might end up. I hope not, but he might end up there. I've got his pick. So I got some stake in this week 13 matchup to beat him.
The most interesting things coming out of this, largely the battles in the Woodson division and obviously the White division, because Jason and I are both projected at 10 and 3 at this point. It's going to be tough for Jason because I think he'll need to likely end up actually beating me in record because I already won the first game. So even if he wins the next game against me, that's just offsetting that, and then it'll go to divisional record, which I was 3-0 at the beginning. It's going to be tough. It's possible, but it's going to be tougher. And it's like, well, whatever. He's in the playoffs anyway. But but in terms of the Woodson division, Wario, there's always this feeling from the beginning. We're always talking about all the good teams are in the global conference. Wario just has a cakewalk to the finals. Yeah, and that's it. And that is not what's happening. I mean,
that's not been the case. I love it.
Colorado has been the class of the conference, and even within the division now, he's trying to hold off Jayville, who is now actually the favorite to win the division.
Really?
Jayville is currently So Jayville, when he played, what's the face? I'm looking at Jayville's schedule. Hang on.
So Jayville played played Turret Rocks.
Now the interesting thing here is when Jayville played Wario in week 2, Wario won that game. So currently Wario has the tiebreaker, and the projections are still favoring Jayville to win the division.
Wow.
Even more interesting is the last 3 games of the season will be within the division, so same for both of them. Jayville's remaining opponents, he's got you, which is, that's a pretty easy win, but he's also playing me this week, which is a little tricky.
Yeah. And then he plays the Cobras in week 10. So he doesn't have the great, he's got some tough games still.
Yeah, exactly. He's got some very hard games. And you look at Wario's schedule, and he's got some hard games, but they don't seem to be as hard. It's Ron Mexico, Turret Rocks, and Team Marines. So I mean, there's some tough battles there too. But it's interesting to me that the projections. I think they just like Jayville's team better.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, like I think Wario is gonna have like Wario versus David's team this week is a very interesting one because I believe he's in a bit of bye week hell because he made a trade with me for Wayne Gallman. So if you're actively trying to acquire Wayne Gallman, you've got some issues on your back situation. So,
well, it's not even bye week hell. It's just his back situation in general. Beyond Chase Edmonds, who even there, it's like, who is back this week? And it's a little confusing. His highest scoring player is Wayne Gallman.
What? Is that true? What happened to his running backs? He must have had somebody.
One of them was Nick Chubb.
Oh shit!
Now gone.
The big one was Nick Chubb. Yeah,
and that was it. Like his team was basically Nick Chubb, and I don't remember.
It must have been the second back. Jordan Howard? I guess Jordan Howard was the expectation, but he hasn't done
maybe there's an expectation he does something. But
Jordan Howard's been terrible.
Situation has been harsh. I think the other problem that Wario is going to be facing is Jared Goff started out the season really well.
Yeah.
But he also did so beating up on the NFC East. And it's going to be difficult to maintain that over the course of a season. You don't always get to play the Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants and football team.
Yeah.
And against recent opponents who, have a better defense, the 49ers, Bears. He hasn't done poorly, but he hasn't done great either. He's sort of back to that Goff that we saw in the last few years where it's like, great, you got 200 yards, maybe a couple of touchdowns and an interception. It's like, fine, but it's not going to be getting much.
And his young quarterbacks have not been good. They both looked very promising last year, and they've both been very underwhelming this year. Drew Lock's been terrible, and Daniel Jones has not been very good. So, it's a tough situation.
Yeah. At least his receivers are looking good, though. Yeah. And Travis Kelce being Travis Kelce. But outside of that, there's not much. The defense isn't like TJ Watts is amazing as always. So is Aaron Donald. But no one else really stands out on the defense. So I can sort of see where these projections are coming from here because that running back situation is
painful.
And outside of wide receivers, which are genuinely good, there's not really a lot to make up for it. And on Paul's side, Justin Herbert has come on as like, wow, all of a sudden he's already among one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Who would have thought that? He has, after week 2, he dropped, but since then he has increased his point total every single week.
Wow.
He got 12.7 in week 3, 26 in week 4, 32.36 in week 5, 43.48 last week.
Oh my God.
He has been on fire.
He's looked tremendous too. Like he's looked very good doing it. Like really understanding and noticeably getting better, noticeably understanding the game, the pro game better. It's really impressive.
Yeah. Now Jayville would look even better if you remember early in the season, Ryan and Jayville sort of flipped overpaid running backs. Ryan sent James White to Jayville, and he got back, Todd Gurley. Yeah. And James White has not done anything this year.
The Patriots haven't done anything. Like the offense just looks really mangled right now.
Yeah, no, I mean he's only played 4 games, which isn't helping things. But in 2 of those, he caught at least 7 passes, so you could still see the signs of James White being there, but it hasn't been all that useful so far. And Gurley would have been more helpful, but he's still got Ronald Jones, who's been good so far. Been pretty good. On the receiving side, he signed 2 guys this offseason, paid them a shit ton of money. But they've been performing for him. Allen Robinson and Adam Thielen have both been really, really good. And DK Metcalf, continuing his improvement, been looking good. Keelan Cole came out of nowhere to be a really good option. So, I mean, he doesn't have any tight end. Like, that is just abysmal. Looking at Kyle Rudolph as a starter there.
Right, yeah, that's not a good situation.
But on defense, he's got some performers, but you wonder if they're going to keep it up. KJ Wright, I think, is fine. Eric Kendricks, I think, is going to keep doing well. I don't think Kyler Fackrell, given I barely know who this guy is going to keep up the performance that he's had so far.
I'm surprised there's 2 Kylers.
Rarely do people come out of nowhere at 28 to just start dominating the league. So we'll see what happens there. And I think you could probably use a little more help in defensive backs just because I don't trust corners. But, it's a team where you look at it and you're like, yeah, this seems roughly on par. Like both teams, Wario and Jayville, they both have strengths. They both have weaknesses. They both have really solid receivers. Jayville's got the better running backs. Wario's got a much better tight end. It's going to be interesting to see how that division plays out.
I would be very interested to see if Paul tries to make some moves because trade deadline's coming and the outlook is pretty strong. So it's like maybe a couple key moves puts him over the top and secures that moving to the playoffs. So we don't hear much from Paul. He's not all that active, but I would, if I was in his position, I'd be looking to make some solidify this victory, solidify this run type moves.
I think one of the challenges is with what? Like the haves and have-nots of this league have gotten pretty extreme to the point you look at the teams that are selling. Like you're like, yeah, I'll sell you some players, take some players from me, just give me something. And you look at your roster and you're like, I don't want any of this. And this is just your team. Like most of the teams in the league who aren't competing, you look and you're like, why? What? How can any of this really help me?
Yeah, I guess a lot of those teams, like my team, have shed the valuable players earlier in the year. Like there's not much left in terms of value. There is some, but there's not much left in terms of value for teams that just want to give it up for picks. Because Jayville does have about $8 million in cap, so he can absorb some expensive players.
So let me propose some what I think would be helpful trades here.
Okay.
Giovanni Bernard to Wario.
All right.
That is definitely one because
Wario needs anything at back.
Yeah, anything. And Bernard is starting for a little bit until Mixon returns to health. And even when Mixon returns to health, he'll probably still at least get a few catches out of the back.
He gets carries, yeah.
But he's also not someone that will theoretically, unless Chris Back really just loves him, he shouldn't actually cost all that much money. Similarly, another target for Wario on the running back front could be Latavius Murray from FF Village, who, again, he'll get some carries. He's not the starter, but he's fine. But the key thing is a lot of the players make, $20-something million. You can't afford them. Latavius Murray's making $2 million. You can easily bring that on board.
Yeah, and he tends to get points. I remember being very annoyed by that when I had Kamara. It's like, it's a red zone opportunity. Why are you giving it to Latavius Murray? That's not a bad option.
The other thing would be seeing it's not a rebuilding team, but Jason could easily get trade. Like he has George Kittle, he could trade one of his other tight ends to Jayville. Mm-hmm. The problem there is Jason has always historically overvalued his Austin Hooper is sitting there for a reason. It's not like he hasn't said he's available. It's just his asking price is just absurd.
I feel like it's become a running joke at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I have Austin Hooper in the other league, and it's been encouraging to see that looks like he's becoming a bigger part of that offense. And before he had his appendix burst, he was actually doing pretty well. But he's not the guy that was playing last year. He's not the Falcons Austin Hooper, who you could justify a pretty big haul for. But even then, the haul was a big ask. I feel like he would do it now, but I feel like nobody wants to even engage him on it. And Jonnu Smith has been great too.
Yeah, so that's another potential. You only need one of these guys as a backup, so someone could be traded. He just needs to be reasonable about his ask.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we gonna do? We didn't make picks last week.
No, we did not. So
but we did make picks the week before last week and never evaluated how those went.
Did we not?
Or I guess
I thought we did. We did because we started the podcast before the games, and we talked about.
Wasn't that 2 weeks ago? Wasn't last week where we were planning on doing a podcast and you had to just be like, look, sorry, guys, bi-week podcast?
Yeah, but we also didn't make picks last week.
But did we the week before is my question.
Oh, for the coming week.
Yeah.
Let me check. That's a good point. I think we did. We did.
We haven't resolved those is what I think has been the case here.
Okay. Let me see. Did we though? Because we didn't get lines. I think we might not have. The last week I have picks for it. Yeah, we didn't have picks last week because in the Google Drive sheet I've got week 5 with the results.
All right.
So we didn't get week 6. So week 6 and 7 we don't have picks, but we'll make them for this week, and I guess we'll just base them on the website. I guess in terms of the I mean, we don't have another option.
No.
But I guess we can at least get into the games last week and see if there's any interesting ones that pop out to discuss.
Yeah, let's might as well quickly do that.
Yeah, I don't have to spend too much time on it because we don't have picks tied to it. But let me pull up the weekly results. So we're talking week 7.
Yeah, week 7.
It's funny. The 2 weeks that we don't talk about are the weeks that I dominated. With in FOMFA. 206 points week 6, 201 points week 7.
Yeah, that was surprising. That was
to me too. What has happened over the last 2 weeks? I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, it's been an anomaly, but it's just been the huge performances out of defense on all those games. Like on offense too, but I think it's the defense is really making the difference.
Yeah, that's what tends to happen when you're you're a rebuilding team. It's easy to just sometimes have, oh wow, a couple of guys got an interception, a couple of guys got sacks, and now I'm contending this week.
Yeah, it's like I've been starting cornerbacks a lot because I'm like, oh, might as well. It's like home run shot. They're not going to score as much as a safety, but if they get an interception and they run it down, who knows? I mean, I was playing FF Village this week, and they actually had a pretty good game considering the team that he's got 177 points. At almost 90% efficiency, but yeah, my guys just went off. LaMichael Pirine, first touchdown of his NFL career.
Well, there you go. All right, well, let's start with Marine Sandwich here.
All right,
and you look here, Marines coming up with the crucial win for them here. That's going to hurt Sandwich a little bit. It amazes me now that I think of it. This means Sandwich was 4-2 before this game.
Yeah. I mean, look at the point. Like Sandwich did not have a good game. Like this is more like the type of game that I'd expect out of Sandwich's team.
Yeah, and you see those running back situation. You're like, oh yeah, that's not good. And you got to hope Chase Claypool performs because I don't see anyone on the bench. Even though there are some performances out of the receivers, there's no one there you would trust to ever do it.
No, he's got a thing of Whiteside still on his roster. That's a dude that is officially a bust.
His
only touchdown has been when Miles Sanders fumbled and he managed to pick it up in the end zone. So his only touchdown was because of Miles Sanders.
Yeah. So I mean, this game was what it was. I mean, Team Marines deserved the win. I don't think anyone made any questionable choices. I mean, it would have been helpful for Marines if they had have let Mayfield play, but they won the game anyway. Mayfield was going up against the Bengals, and that's sort of one of the situations where you'd think he'd start, but at the same time, Roethlisberger was playing the Titans, who do not have a good passing defense at this point. So,
I mean, on the Mayfield versus the Bengals, I guess the first time he played the Bengals, he had 18.26. So it didn't really he just really went off against the Bengals, and still a very hit or miss player though. It's very hard to predict what Baker Mayfield's going to do. It's 8 points, 18 points, 16 points, 17 points, 16 points, 38 points, 1 point. It's really all over the place. It's not a good quarterback to depend on.
So in the next game, Turret Rocks pulled out a not deserved win. I mean,
167 point win.
179 potential points, even under an optimistic scenario. Yeah. Best case lineup, it still doesn't even beat the average score of the week. And it all is because of Devontae Adams. That's where all the points came from here.
Basically,
Cam Newton did his best to reduce the team's points.
Oh, my God.
potentially playing for Jayville this week to add to like the difference in points between the quarterbacks here was almost 48 points.
Oh my God! Yeah,
For Jayville, that was the difference in Jayville's favor.
yeah.
And Jayville lost because outside of Justin Herbert on his end,
Nobody did anything.
Yeah, Ronald Jones had an okay performance, Montgomery okay performance, but White was terrible. Keelan Cole was terrible. Metcalf was terrible. Like none of the defense did anything other than KJ. Well, I guess KJ Wright and Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
Outside of those two, it's just like 1s and 2s and a 0.
0. His kicker got a 0. His
kicker got 5. His kick returner got 0.
Oh, kick return. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that was a real bad game.
This was a rough one. And what was not surprising, but I've noticed it as a bit of a pattern. It's like the Seahawks started off the year with it was all Tyler Lockett, and he was having monster games, and then he had 2 games in a row where it was like 6.7 points, and those were when DK had those monster games, and now it's like DK got the big coverage, and then Tyler Lockett this week had monster games. I hope it doesn't keep flipping like that.
It absolutely will.
That is so fucking frustrating.
You're never gonna know it's going to be the one to go off, but they'll both do it occasionally.
That's going to be so frustrating in the playoffs, especially.
Yeah, probably.
You really need it. Ugh, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, DK Metcalf with 3.61 points. Does that tackle count?
No.
Insane chase down tackle?
Does not count.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, this is just a bad performance. I mean, like, the potential points that Turret Rocks put up would have just barely beaten FF Village this week. Again, FF Village is 0-7. So, yeah, not a great he gets the win. Not deservingly.
The win. Cobras versus Wario.
It's a good game.
Close game. I mean, we knew going into this would be one of the games of the week, and it delivered with a difference of 6.5 points between the two teams. Their potential points were only like 1 point different.
Yeah.
Set pretty solid lineups. Not a lot of opportunity to have someone better come in. Yeah, you look at this, and it was just a solid game all around.
Yeah, and once again, you look at Israel's bench, though. I mean, good for him. It's nice to see him winning, and he really did kind of push all in. But like a lot of bye weeks, I guess, but 0, 0, 0. Like his bench is full of 0. Like there was almost no way he couldn't set an optimal lineup. Yeah,
I mean, Duke Johnson could have gone in for Dontrell Inman, but like, I don't think I would have made that play.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want Inman in my lineup, but you look at his history and it's like, he'll probably catch a few passes. He didn't, but probably catch a few. Whereas Duke Johnson has done nothing until last week. So
right now, isn't Inman like the number 2 receiver over there?
Does it matter?
It doesn't really, but I mean, like the opportunity had to be higher for him than it would have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, big fat 0 on that side. But good win for Israel. Who's Israel like? Do you think the Cobras pretty much have it locked up, or is Steven making a roaring comeback at some point?
I don't think so. The only way that happens is, like, we've talked a lot in the early part of the season about bye weeks and injuries for Colorado.
Yeah, and this was one of them. Honestly, look at all the 0s on his bench. He just covered it really nicely this week.
He covered it because his team has remained healthy. This is exactly what we said at the beginning. Like, this needs to happen for him to compete. If he can, then he should have a decent shot in the playoffs. But his team has remained healthy largely.
Yeah. Which is the biggest contributor here. So if he remains healthy, he can wade his way through these next few weeks where the bye weeks really going to affect them. It's exciting. It's kind of nice to see. I mean, Israel always tries to put up a competitive effort and ends up running into the issues that we always talk about. So it's cool to see him actually winning.
In case Israel is listening, it is like, what are you talking about? My team's not healthy. I have 5 people on IR. Yes, true, but none of them are all that crucial. It's like the concern was if someone like Derrick Henry goes or Eric Jones goes on IR, the season is over.
Who's he got on IR?
Russell Wilson, Robert Woods. It used to be Julio Jones, but any of those guys are gone. That is it for the season.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's see if there was some other I think you versus Turn Down for Watt was a very interesting game to watch, especially considering the complete trash you had to start at running back.
I don't know how I got team of the week.
How did this is you put up 230 points?
Yeah, I don't
starting
know.
Starting JaMychal Hasty and D'Ernest Johnson. That's wild.
Well, for what it's worth, D'Ernest Johnson got 0.3 points.
yeah. JaMychal Hasty did fine. I'd be very pleased with that number if I was in your position.
What, JaMychal Hasty?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened because of an injury to Jeff Wilson.
Oh, right. Yeah, and Jeff Wilson was doing pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. It was more the rest of my team all decided, you know what? We'll pick up the slack this week. We got you covered. Like, look at the defense.
This
worst
defense is insane.
Josh Allen didn't do anything. He got me 2 points. But other than that, Levante David in 7.5 was the worst. Everyone else got over 10. All of my defensive backs got an interception. Myles Garrett got like 2 sacks. Chris Barnes, big pickup off free agency. He only played half the game and got me 13 points.
That's insane. Antoine Winfield continuing to be really good draft pick. Look at this.
I was getting real worried when Devin White just started just destroying everyone in that game.
Oh yeah, he put it up, man. 33 points on Khalil's side, but the rest of Khalil's defense was very subpar. I mean, Jabril Peppers did his work, but 2 points out of Jair Alexander, 5 points out of who the hell is this? Harold Landry? I don't know. But
Jair Alexander is not a good play in fantasy football.
Yeah, because he's it's the classic cornerback situation that we talk about. It's like, that is a cornerback that's going to have your wide receiver well covered. He's not going to be getting points.
Yeah, you avoid throwing.
Yeah, it's like Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like in week 1 somehow he just sort of fluked out because like in 2019, I mean he was doing all right, but he didn't have the same reputation. I think he was a rookie in 2018, but like he was building his reputation last year. Jair Alexander is only 23. Like, it's ridiculous. He's still that young. Week 1, he comes out, gets a pick, gets a sack, and I think people are like,
got a safety.
Not a safety.
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
So let's stay away from that guy. So he hasn't done anything, and it hasn't helped that Jonathan Abram is hurt for. So he just had to put literally anyone in. There's no one else he could have put in from his bench. So that's why, in terms of potential points, is fine. But it's it's one of those guys you don't want to see starting, and yet he started Jair Alexander 4 weeks already.
Yeah. Also, you don't necessarily want to see 5.92 out of Ezekiel Elliott.
Khalil, if you need a safety, I've got like 7 of them.
And one thing I'll say, you said this a while back, that you thought N'Keal Harry was a bust. He has not looked like he's living up to that. he's had some okay games, but man, he does not look good. It's like a big guy that doesn't play big.
I've actually surprisingly done well scouting receivers. You're like
the Steelers.
I get, like I was saying, I thought Harry was, but I've had my misses. DK Metcalf, huge miss on that. I thought
that's true. Yeah, you thought he was going to be real bad.
I said T. Higgins is going to do nothing, and he's been pretty good so far. He hasn't been elite, he's been pretty good so far. There's some hope there. But I managed to find McLaurin. I called that Harry's bad. Like I think it's like 50-50, I guess. It's I have my strengths and weaknesses. Justin Jefferson, as everyone else let him slide in this draft. I'm like, oh, crazy. I will trade whatever I need to go get this guy. And glad I did that.
You picked Tyreek Hill too, didn't you?
Sorry?
Didn't you pick Tyreek Hill too?
Yeah. But I'm not going to pretend like that was scouting. That was me wanting a kick returner.
You got the fastest guy they got.
I actually wanted Jakeem Grant, and he was taking a few picks ahead of my pick. So I was like, fuck it. All right, I guess take this Tyreek Hill guy, see how he does. And that was just complete luck. I had no scouting on that one. You missed your game because yours is put at the top, but you against FF Village here.
Yeah.
Couple of powerful teams here going head to head. This was one of the highest scoring games of the week. Yeah. This has been pretty crazy. Last 2 games for me were over 200-point scoring games. I mean, Gronk showing up. I guess that helps. Can you take Sean Riddick off your bench?
I know. I keep not starting him. He's doing really well.
No, there's a reason for a while, but then once Chandler Jones got injured,
yeah,
playing went way up.
And he's looking very good too, and like he's doing the most with that playing time. So yeah, I'm gonna be starting him from now on.
I can't Nate Gary, but I guess for fantasy he's useful because they run every play at him. He is so goddamn bad.
Yeah, that's what I never said he was a good linebacker.
Sooner or later, he gets his job though. It's just a matter of time.
You can get him cheap, and he gets points. Yeah, I have him in both leagues. I mean, in the other league, he's a backup, but like he gets points, scores.
He does get points, but I'm looking forward to the day that he doesn't.
I mean, Travis Fulgham has been fun to have on the team. Brandon Cooks has actually kind of figured it out. So yeah, it's gonna be. I want to play spoiler a little bit, so I'm hoping I can continue to play spoiler here and there. But I mean, the last 2 weeks also was against weak competition. It was against Lucas Shies and it was against Jokic. I'm going up against Ryan this week. I'm not expecting any miracles. Like I'll need this level of effort, this exact level of effort to have a shot, and even then, probably not.
The interesting thing about Gary in my mind is he wasn't a bad safety. Then the Eagles were like, you know what? We need a linebacker. You come play linebacker, and he's the worst linebacker I've ever seen in my life. Just move him back. Just move him back. Put one of our existing safeties at linebacker. They will be terrible. They can't be as bad as Nate Gary is.
Who was the linebacker last year? Bradham? That Nate Gary took the spot of?
No, Jalen Mills. Oh, yeah.
Because Jalen Mills was a cornerback.
Yeah, it's Jalen. Yeah. Jalen Mills went to safety. Gary came into linebacker to take Bradham's place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As a linebacker for an effective NFL defense, no bueno. But
so bad.
Points in fantasy, all good.
Points in fantasy. Fort Myers, Lucas Shies. Fort Myers just keep on just destroying people.
221 points. That's a game. Jesus.
Very close to team of the week this week. Kyler Murray, 42. 42 points.
Cyril believed in him. He made a hard push and made that trade with me last year.
Yeah, it's by far the best game of the season, but he's been playing well all year. I mean, this is sort of what like Lamar Jackson did last year, where it's like you're getting the rushing yardage, you're getting the passing yardage. You're outside of his game against the Lions, which looked kind of terrible in terms of passing. He's not really turning the ball over much. This is what everyone had hoped for when they were drafting him as I think he was the 4th quarterback, maybe sometimes 3rd quarterback off the board, behind the obviously first 2, Lamar and Mahomes. And then I think it was a competition between him and Russell Wilson of who went next. But anyone who believed in him is they're being handsomely rewarded. He has 20 touchdowns already on the season, racking up a good amount of yards along with it. It's he can win you a game on his own.
Yeah. What it could have been, Phil. You drafted him 5th pick, traded up to get him. I felt very good about Kyler Murray, but obviously it was a different direction for the team. I mean, it's the direction I ended up going. But
the direction you had was a failure. But
yes, it was a failed direction. But damn, he's looked tremendous, like really good.
I'm trying to imagine how much better Cyril's team would be right now if he hadn't have traded what's the face, the Jacksonville running back, Robinson.
Who did he trade him to? Because he just cashed it. He just I guess Steven picked them up, and it just kind of sold high. But with a 7th round pick, like I guess it depends on what Cyril's trying to do with his team. But like at a 7th round pick to get a player of that level of value, like
yeah, I don't know if that was really sell high. It was sell high only if you believe he's losing his job next year.
Yeah, and it does not look like he is going to. He's looked really good.
Yeah, they have way more holes. Why bother replacing him? Like,
yeah, and he's actually a really good receiving back. Like he's doing a little bit of everything.
That's the thing. There have been some weeks where he hasn't run much, but he's kept getting fantasy points because he's just been thrown to out of the backfield.
Yeah, I picked him up in the other league, and in the other league it wasn't as valuable because he was expensive. But he can be extended, but he'll still be expensive. But Points, man. Puts them up.
Put up some points.
All right. Anything else on this side that we should talk about? I mean, Ron, Mexico, big win for David against Clout to Ground, which is pretty massive to do because it's weird. David's team always seems to just find a way. I really thought David's team was at some point plummeting, and we keep having these things like this is the must-win game. If David doesn't win this game, the season's over. But it's irrelevant.
He wins it.
He wins it, yeah. Just keeps surviving. I mean, his backs didn't do much, but big game out of Boyd. Boyd's been great. I mean, Lockett's obviously the top player in this game, but like Boyd's been great this year.
Look at the potential points: 312.
Oh my God! Who did he leave on the bench?
Tom Brady and his 45 points.
Oh yeah. That's not
Jeffrey
good.
Wilson and his 32 points. Romeo Okwara getting 21. Ronnie Harrison getting 20.5. Like there are a lot of big games on his bench there.
Yeah, you can't blame the Allen over Brady start because Allen was going up against the Jets.
Well, this is now my decision in the other league every week, Allen or Brady.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Like I don't know why I traded for Josh Allen. Now I'm just irritated every week that I'm going to make the wrong decision. Really, I traded for a second-round pick is what I did, and I just got Josh Allen in the hopes I could just flip him or something. But I'm
a little bit surprised he started Freeman over Wilson just because Mozart was hurt and Wilson was the next best option.
Wilson was not. Very few people thought Wilson was going to be the next running back in line. People thought it was going to be a combination of McKinnon and Hasty going into the week.
Oh, yeah, McKinnon. Forgot about McKinnon.
You look at Jeffrey Wilson's stats prior to that game. There's no indication he's getting a
you're right. I forgot about McKinnon. I thought it was going to be Wilson and Hasty with Wilson getting Wilson getting more. But
yeah, Wilson was just expected to be literally maybe a goal line back, and that was about it. And then Shanahan is Shanahaning things and
and Ronnie Harrison the week that he doesn't start him. Did you already mention that? Sorry. The week that he doesn't start his second round draft pick trade move goes off for 20.5. That's hilarious. He won the game.
Pat Mahomes not liking the snow.
Yeah.
11 points. Prior to that, his worst game was 23.24. So.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah. I was surprised because I was obviously watching this game closely since Jason had taken the divisional lead from me, or not lead, but at least probabilities before. And I was like, Mahomes isn't really doing anything. Josh Jacobs isn't really doing anything. DJ Chark I haven't seen near the ball. Like, everything just didn't work out for Jason. And he still got 174 points.
Yeah. In a very poorly played game, he got 174 points. So Jason's still a very good team. All right, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to pop off for a second so I can turn the light on. It's getting real dark in here.
All right, Jam trying to get a background back because we were just staring at his face on a black screen. But the final game we have here, 100% Cotton versus Death Valley. There's not really a lot to say about Cotton versus Death Valley. Cotton was expected to win. Cotton did win.
Cotton beat the hell out of Death Valley. No need to have a conversation here. Nice game for Cotton, 197 points. Ryan's team still looking good. Jerick McKinnon, not looking good.
Joe Flacco, sitting on the bench, not looking good for Death Valley.
Oh my God. I love how Joe Flacco is sitting there in the starting spot. That's hilarious.
It's a tough call which backup quarterback between Dwayne Haskins and Joe Flacco you're going to put in week to week.
He's also got a third backup quarterback in Jordan Love.
Yeah, that one, I don't think anyone's thinking that Rodgers is getting benched, but maybe you think he gets hurt, and let's bring Love in. But
yeah, right now, he's not looking to win anything, but Chris has got fingers crossed for hurt quarterbacks. he's got that market covered. All right, so should we do our picks then?
Yep.
Into FOMFA, and then we'll move on to Ben Wyatt. Let me pull up the site. So hopefully everybody set their lineups because we're basing it on those. It should. It's the weakest starting today. Which one do you want to start with then?
What's in the fantasy preview here? It's game of the week. Me versus Jayville, apparently. So I guess that one's first.
All right. Game of the week comes first. What the hell? Why do I not see that? Oh, fantasy previews. Let me write these down. So this is now week 8. FOMFA. Got Toronto. What are you favored by?
That's a good question. I just noticed that as a commissioner, I could edit anything I want in the preview.
Oh, you could just change all the.
I could change the photo of Carson Wentz to a photo of Nick Foles if I really wanted to.
All right, so it looks like you're favored by 21.
21, huh?
Against Jayville. This is a good game.
And I still don't know what I'm moving my lineup around constantly because I have a lot of guys questionable. Miles Sanders is one of them. Chris Barnes is one. I'm not in the same hell that I was last week, but I've got some things that I'm that are forcing my hand. So right now, Justin Jefferson is in there. I don't really want him in, but he'll do. Interestingly, Jayville's got Thielen, so that's going to be an interesting game for the Vikings to watch and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Dalvin Cook plays, but if not, I've got Madison that can just go in there.
Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Dalvin Cook doesn't play. It's looking like Aaron Jones isn't going to play, and it's going to affect me in the other league.
21. Oh, that's a tough call. I guess when in doubt, I might as well show my team some love and say I'll cover it.
You'll cover the 21?
Yeah.
I'm going to say I think you win, but I think it's going to be close. So I will say Jayville covers the spread. But I don't feel all that good about it. In FOMFA, I just have to go against you at this point. If I want to have any chance of catching up, I just have to hope for the home run ball and make it exciting.
Well, this one I'm like 50-50, so it's
yeah. All right, so next up we got Turn Down for Watt versus Hokage. Turn Down for Watt favored by 56 points.
Yeah, well.
I'm going to say, I'm basing this very much on how FF Village did last week, but I'm going to say that FF Village covers it with the same type of thing, where I believe that they'll still lose, but it'll be closer to 56 points. That's a big spread.
56 is a big spread. And I think Turn Down for Watt is going to cover it.
All right. Turn Down for Watt's been an interesting team this year. I feel like there's been a lot of wins, but underwhelming performances. Like when he beat me, it was incredibly underwhelming.
Yeah, that's very true. But I still have faith in this team, so we'll see what happens.
All right. So next up, we got Turret Rocks favored at versus Lucas Shies. Turret Rocks favored by 49 points.
There's no way Luis.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Luis hasn't set a lineup yet because Antonio.
I see.
Like, let's modify this a little bit. Let me look at who can come in for Gibson. Who does he need sub for? Gibson, Cobb, Thomas, Prosh, and Chase Young, and John. Oh, wow, there's a lot.
Oh, he's got a lot, eh? Oof.
I'm just going to assume that his subs can get him. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One's a kick returner, so let's assume the sub is 0 there. So let's say 6. I'm going to assume the subs can get him another 30 points.
Okay.
So you want to set the line
20.
Yeah, let's say Turret Rocks by 20.
Okay. And you're picking first.
Devontae Adams has just been showing up, but is this the week that Antonio Brown plays, or is that next week? I think that's next week.
Antonio Brown?
Yeah, I don't think
I
he's
think
playing.
he plays.
Really?
Because I know that I saw Bruce Arians saying, if Chris Godwin doesn't go, that's why we have the depth, and that's why we have, and he was kind of referring to Antonio Brown. And Chris Godwin likely doesn't play this week. I mean, It's not been ruled, but it doesn't.
No, but I'm expecting him not to.
His finger's all fucked up.
Running backs are brutal. But I still think Turret Rocks covers.
Turret Rocks covers?
Yeah.
You said Lucas Shies has Antonio Brown? I don't even know where Antonio Brown ended up.
No, I was just looking at Mike Evans on Turt Rock's team.
Oh, I see.
If he had all the targets to himself.
It's weird what's going on with Mike Evans. Like fantasy wise, he's just hasn't been targeted. Even when he's playing and Chris Godwin's not on.
Last
Scotty Miller.
He's got 4 targets combined, but prior
That's
to that,
crazy.
he had a number of games with like standard targeting.
Okay, I mean, when in doubt, I'm gonna say that that Lucas Shies wins this game. So just to go against yours and try and make up some points.
Yep.
I think there's a shot at it. Okay, so next up we got Cloud to Ground versus Sandwich. Cloud to Ground favored by 25. Cloud to Ground favored by 25. Interesting. I'm picking first.
Mm-hmm.
Sandwiches look better than they should. Big Ben's debuting for them, playing the Ravens. I'm gonna say, I'll say Cloud to Ground covers.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Cloud to Ground to cover. Next up, we have Marines versus Death Valley. Marines favored by 53. Is that right? Did Death Valley not set a lineup? I mean, Death Valley's not great. I don't.
Well, lineup is set. Lineup is set.
All right, big spread. What do you think?
53. Odin Tate? Is he even?
He's not even going to be on the field. There's no way. We're getting John Ross will see time before Odin Tate does.
Yeah, I'm taking Team Marines.
I want to. Maybe I'll just say 0 just to.
I know it's a 53-point spread or whatever, but
I'm gonna go with Death Valley. I don't believe it, but it's just to give myself some kind of a room. But it's just. I'll be rooting for you, Death Valley, to make it close.
You're
right, Cobra
Arnold to be benched is what you're rooting for.
Yeah, exactly. He might. It's terrible. Cobras versus Fort Myers. Fort Myers favored by 2 points. Does that make sense? Hold on a second. Why is that?
Probably. Well, maybe Cyril's team is better than.
Fort Myers favored by 2 against Cobras. All right, what do you think?
Is it me this time? I said Team Marines first last time.
Okay, so it's me. Sorry. I'll say Cobra covers.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai.
I mean, they're not even the favorites, and I think they're going to win. So yeah,
exactly.
I
I
mean,
just don't believe that line.
probably play. So yeah, definitely go to Colorado here.
All right, another close one to close it out. Wario versus. We haven't done mine. Is it mine?
Ryan.
Is mine next? Okay.
You against Ryan with a spread of 44.
Yeah. Yeah, my team's been showing up. It's a good beat, Phil.
Ryan.
My team has also scored 98 points this season in a game. So, all right, you're saying Ryan?
I'm saying Ryan.
All right, I gotta go for me. I gotta go for BKB. We're a young team, we got spunk. That's coming along. All right, last game, Warriors Ron Mexico.
Yeah.
Ron Mexico is favored, I believe, by 3.8.
Let's say 4.
Let's say 4 against Wario. Betting on my boy hasn't worked this year, but you make the call. But last year, betting on my boy got me the win, I feel.
It's also you make the call, so.
Oh, it is me. Sorry. Yeah. I'll bet on my boy. It hasn't been favorable, but I'll bet on my boy. I'll say David. It's close. At this point, it's basically who wins. It's close enough for them.
I'll take Wario in this one.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right. Okay. Lock of the week, Phil. You want to call the lock first? Or you want me to call Shuin?
You can have this league. I'll take
Okay.
the
Lock of the week. I took some risky picks here. Cobras.
Yeah, that was my favorite there too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at the Jason spread because I remember thinking that his team was my next choice. I don't believe in sandwich. I don't care what the points are saying. I don't care what the record is saying. I don't
believe in you.
don't. I'm looking at a lineup that has Patrick Mahomes, Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara.
Nasty.
And then it sort of goes off the rails from there. I don't know what Kendrick Bourne is doing in a competing lineup, but
in Jason's lineup?
Yeah, and Henry Ruggs keeps thinking is worth starting, and Henry Ruggs hasn't done anything, so that's debatable. Yeah. But either way, I'll still make Cloud to Ground my lock of the week.
All right, lock of the week locked in. Awesome. Cool. Shall we do the branding change? The exciting branding change is about to happen.
Everyone's always real excited about that.
And bam! Ben Wyatt time. No more talking about FOMFA at all. All right. Let me switch over to my Ben Wyatt page here.
This league, right? I don't think we had any in FOMFA recently. Well, I guess 2 weeks we did, but
we did have some trades. Were there any big trades that we've missed?
Doesn't matter. Can't talk about it. You've moved it to.
I've moved it. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's been rebranded. FOMFA is done. any trades in Ben Wyatt?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, we have a trade that involved Odell Beckham, a first-round pick, and Jarvis Landry. But let's get to the important one of Rex Burkhead for a 7th-round pick.
Who had Rex Burkhead?
Chicago did.
It was a free agent.
If he was a free agent, he would have been on my team because my options are not good.
Yeah. Hey, man, 7th-round pick. That's just fine. You're not going to really do a lot with a 7th-round pick anyway. Might as well.
Well, probably not. But, I mean, if I'm still in a quasi-compete stage, which is where I am, it's worth getting rid of a 7th.
Rex Burkhead has done okay. I mean, he had a monster game. I don't expect that. But
no, but just okay. I'm hoping for one of those 7-8 point sort of games. I'd be happy with that out of my situation. So
that's a fine take for a Rex Burkhead.
But yeah, the interesting one happened earlier today. Las Vegas giving up D'Ernest Johnson, who just keeps moving around the league.
Can't find himself a home.
Odell Beckham, Kiko Alonso, Isaiah Simmons, 2021 5th-round pick, a 2022 1st-round pick, and a 2022 3rd-round pick.
First-rounder on the move.
That is all for David Montgomery, Jarvis Landry, and a 2022 5th. So all of this was basically salary dumping. D'Ernest Johnson is $3.3 million of uselessness. Beckham is injured in $18.2 million. Isaiah Simmons is signed only for this year and is not really doing anything yet. So none of these players, I'm looking at what Kiko Alonso is. Kiko Alonso's on IR. So
this is a salary dump.
It's strictly getting the players for some picks. And
so it breaks down to basically a 1st and a 3rd and a pick swap of 5ths over 2 years for David Montgomery and Jarvis Landry.
I mean, what are their contracts looking like? Landry is signed through 2022, but it's a reasonable deal, worth his production.
13.2, that's pretty good for Landry.
These contracts are pretty reasonable. Essentially, the picks, the players in and of themselves, are not worth what they got. What makes this trade, I think, fair is the fact that he got rid of a bunch of negatives. Effectively, it was all just salary dump that has zero value. Yeah. So it's not necessarily looking at it of what pick is this player worth in a 1-to-1 ratio. Mm-hmm. It's upgrading from Odell Beckham on my IR to Jarvis Landry. What is that?
Yeah, and Jarvis Landry's opportunities going up real nice.
Yeah, I like this trade. I mean, Chicago accepts they're done for the season, so they got some picks out of this. I don't know why they essentially swapped 5th-round picks. How does the negotiation of something like that Get to a point where it's like, all right, you include your 2021 fifth, and I'll give you back 2022 fifth. Like, I would love that negotiation.
I feel that was just at the end of the negotiating and really just needed to get it over the edge. Like, I really don't want to give up that fifth. Fine, I'll give you back a fifth.
That's
because fifth rounders are where you find the stars.
I should look to see if Chicago's actually paid their dues for 2022. Maybe this was his way of just like getting more time and be like, maybe I can reverse this trade.
Just in case, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Chicago made it pretty clear in the chat that they've called it, so makes sense, I guess.
I mean, I don't like it from a standpoint of I have little choice but to try to keep competing, because if I don't make the playoffs, I get the worst non-playoff pick. There's like no doubt about that. So I have to try to compete, but I also, it's a huge uphill battle. Now, Vegas, at least, I think they're the favorites for the division, so it doesn't bother me too much. I'm more competing against West Waco and Houston, but I don't like seeing my conference in general improve.
Yeah,
I think I still have to play Vegas at some point too, which is less than ideal.
Yeah, like what is your schedule looking like? Actually, that makes it that's an interesting thing. You got Scranton this week, and Scranton's been pretty good. Vegas the week after, then you got Houston, Malibu, San Diego. So San Diego, Oakland, Houston, Scranton, and Vegas are kind of like they're gonna be tough, but you'll have a shot there, and Malibu's gonna be hard.
Yeah, I mean, they're all. I guess they're not all going to be hard, but I mean, when I play teams, they're all going to be hard.
Yeah, you're definitely having that. I'm just looking at the scores against you.
The last time I played San Diego, they scored 231 points against me.
Yeah, and San Diego's like basically done.
I play West Waco on 228. I play Washington. Washington has done nothing all year. He scored 210 against me. I could have scored 241 points against you and lost.
241 points.
I think that is literally one of the top 5 scores of the year so far. I lost. So
it's for sure. That's insanity. I remember this feeling from past years. This is not a good feeling.
No, it's not great. It's irritating, and especially given that all it's doing for me is making my draft pick worth a lot less.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a double kick in the nuts, as I'm not in the playoffs, and I'm also just gonna have a shitty draft pick.
Yeah. Well, I think that covers it for trades in this league. Well, I did make my 5th rounder for Richard Rodgers. That was more because I'd like to stay undefeated.
I feel like you didn't need to give up a 5th rounder for someone who is
5th rounder, and my 5th rounder is not going to be all that valuable. It's basically a 6th.
Wow, la-di-da.
Hey, I'm not being cocky here. You keep saying that you don't like this version of Jam. I've been very humble, I feel. Every time I say even a little something like, "Ah, man,
been the most humble."
I'm the most humble winner ever. Like there's a couple times in the chat. There's a couple times in the chat where I've been like during the games like, "Ah, man, that's gonna be rough for my team," and then I was like, "Oh, look at Jam talking about."
You haven't lost a game yet. Like you lose a game, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, in the end, it hasn't. It's always worked out. So I've learned to just shut up about it. Anyways, all right. So should we look at the projections? Because again, it's the same
we can also
situation.
do it. I'm trying to get like a look back into the old one, but my Mac's doing its usual thing. If anyone else has experienced this problem, please let me know a solution. Like every 10 minutes or so, the whole thing will freak the hell out. The processor will go up to 100 degrees. The fan will come on like strong. Yeah, nothing is happening, and it basically freezes even just like my internet browsers. If I look as to what's taking up the like the processor load, it just says like it's Chrome or something. So I don't know if it's a Chrome issue or an OS issue. I think this only started happening after an OS upgrade. But right now I have Google Chrome taking up 288.4% of my processes, which not possible, Apple. So learn to do math.
Yeah, that doesn't seem all that plausible.
All right, just sending you the original. You have the new projections, but I'm sending the original ones.
Awesome. Yeah, if it's giving you trouble, you can text it to me as well. Just download it off the text if you have it as a screen grab. I don't know, whatever's easiest.
Well, I mean, no, it's gonna be the same. I should be sending it, and hopefully my processor just chills the hell out in a second.
I do get the thing where the fan suddenly starts going bananas, and it doesn't seem like anything is happening, but it hasn't slowed anything down. Like my Mac is facing another issue where like this certain programs have just crashed the computer, and this is brand new. And I thought it was maybe a software upgrade need, but it wasn't. Like every day, the Teams, when I'm on meetings, Teams just like shuts the computer down. I'm like, fuck, man! Like this is an expensive computer. This I don't need.
All right. Well, they are in your inbox.
I see them. Yep, I'll put them up. So this is the original projections.
Yep.
Correct.
These are the original ones.
All right. Load these motherfuckers up. And come on. There they are.
So the general premise of my division looks sound. San Diego, Oakland not doing too well. Malibu and myself doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the difference in record is entirely attributable to the fact that Malibu's average points against is 151 and mine is 213.7.
This is fully a luck index thing.
But we're both scoring a lot of points, so I mean, I think this was reasonable. This is one of those things where it's like there's a range for a reason, right? Like, even if you score the same amount of points every time, the simulation could be like some time it'll be 10-3, another time you might be 5-8. Yeah, 5-8.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I'll just remind is that I think at the time you didn't have victory points accounted.
That's true. That's why we just have expected record here. But
yeah.
But yeah, that division's looking pretty solid so far.
Yeah.
Southwest Division 7-6, 7-6.
My God,
7-6.
Nice and even. Just the most boring division. Just nice and clean across the board.
It's been pretty competitive. We have 5-2, 5-2, 4-3. The only exception is San Antonio because
San Antonio is explainable.
Our players just exploded. So,
yeah, and if you've had a full year of Saquon and CMC, you'd think they'd be right up there.
Yeah, they'd probably be in contention. So that one has looked pretty good too.
Yeah.
In your division, it was looking at Washington was looking to be better than they have been. It's really swinging a miss in the projections on Washington there.
Yeah, it's just a flip between Washington and Scranton. Scranton's been stronger. I think part of this is obviously the rookie situation of their running backs, getting like the stronger, rookie projections for them hurt their cases, and Hilaire has been tremendous. Hilaire has been tremendous, and I think they also had Jonathan Taylor, if I'm not mistaken.
Scranton, yeah.
So, and Jonathan Taylor ended up getting kind of the starting role there. So,
it underestimated your team a bit, presumably because one, it did not expect Robbie Anderson to be among the top wide receivers in the league.
He's the eighth highest scoring wide receiver in the league.
Two, it did not expect you to trade for one of the best running backs in the league when you didn't even necessarily need him. So, you got a lot more points that it wasn't sort of anticipating there. I guess also Carlton Davis has been real good. So,
well, the cornerbacks it's so hard to predict. Like, I really thought Kevin King would be by far my best cornerback because of kind of the emergence of Jerry Alexander. So
I really want Kevin King too. And he hasn't played, but even in the last few weeks, but even when he was playing, he wasn't.
It's been like 4 points, 5 points, 6 points. He's getting tackles, and that's like it's fine. But I need a quarterback to do that more.
I thought he was an interesting combination of good draft capital, young. So there's the potential for being good, but still has the second corner.
Yeah, exactly.
But he has the talent to do something with those targets. So he was definitely one of my top targets. But it hasn't worked out quite as well.
Yeah, and Harrison Smith has been a bummer.
But overall, this division not quite as good as the other two, but we'll see
Mhm.
how it ends up going at the end.
Yeah,
And then finally,
good.
this one again, big swing and a miss on Enniscorthy, currently leading their division.
Well, your
as
projection could still hold. He's got four wins.
maybe. As I've mentioned
every
before, my projections never know what to do with
Yeah.
Mark's team.
Just
They're
got
always
something
off,
against
maybe
Mark.
too high, maybe too low. But yeah, this is not working out with Mark's team. But it also thought that the other three would be pretty even contenders.
Mhm.
And well, Hollywood and South Park have definitely been in the mix, and they're right there with Enniscorthy at 4-3. Chicago has not shown up.
What happened? Why? Like, was there something specific happen, or is it just didn't? They're also one of the teams that have had teams score big points against them.
Bad luck, but their points scored also haven't been great, admittedly.
Yeah.
One of it is that Mark Ingram hasn't actually done much of anything.
Yeah.
So that has definitely not helped.
Mark Ingram got big money in FOMFA too, like because the expectation was at least for this next year. He's still gonna be what he did last year, but man, he fell off.
The interesting thing is Dobbins hasn't done much either. Like the Baltimore running game,
Lamar Jackson
in general. Baltimore's offense in general, from what I've seen this year, hasn't been nearly as good as last year. Like Lamar Jackson is still putting up points, but nothing compared to what he did last year.
Yeah.
Like even the running game's not the same, the passing game's not the same. They're still good offense, but they went from spectacular to they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're winning by big margins because I'm getting points out of Harbaugh. But it's not like what it was last year, where it was just like this is an insane show. It was basically like a show. Watching the Ravens last year was like must see TV. Like they were just like destroying teams. Yeah.
Other painful things for Chicago, Raheem Mostert has been on and off the field.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been ideal. Kenny Golladay started out not being on the field, and when he's been playing, he looks good, but he's just not getting targeted as much as you'd think he would be.
Yeah, who are they going to though? Because it's not Marvin Jones. Like I guess Hawkinson's been getting more a bigger part of the offense. But you'd think that it has to be Golladay or Jones, but neither of them are doing all that well. And maybe Golladay does better as a Giant when he's traded before the deadline. But
maybe.
Have you seen that?
He's not going to get traded.
Yeah, no. The rumor was very weak. It was like have had a phone call about. That phone call could have been like no.
Well, that's funny. Well, I guess looking at these, some of the teams pretty good, other teams less so, but it's not bad projections, but not great either. But moving on, we can take this off, I guess. But in terms of like you're mentioning, like these phone calls, there was a leak that happened in baseball when the Houston Astros. This is the only time I'm going to mention the Astros and not having to be about them being cheating assholes. But they just had like a leak of like GM emails and stuff. And you look through them, and they were surprisingly like fantasy players. Like how GMs trade guys is the same ridiculous bullshit that we all do. Like, hey, I was looking at Kenny Golladay. What would it take to get him? And all of a sudden, if that gets out, it's like, ooh, in talks about Golladay, some idiot emailed them about Kenny Golladay. And the people will make these horrible, horrible offers and get laughed out of the room. It's exactly like it is with us. They're just doing it on like a huge, huge scale.
No, it's like I just recently, I think I watched Moneyball again. Every once in a while, I like watching Moneyball. I like sports movies, and that's a fun sports movie. And the GM conversations in that feel like fantasy football too. It's just like he picks up the phone. It's like, yeah, I like this guy. I need 250 in cash. Nah, you don't want him. You don't want him. Like, it's like, yeah, I like that guy. He's like, you don't even heard of about that guy before I called you. Like, it's just like, it's just these like really casualish sounding conversations that lead to like multi-million-dollar deals.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't imagine football is any different. I assume it's exactly the same as baseball in that regard.
I really wish at some point they could show what that actually looks like, but obviously you never can. no GM is going to be like, here's a camera in the war room as I make trades.
Watch me rip this guy off.
Exactly. And that would have been the call with when DeAndre Hopkins got traded.
Can you hold on for a second? Puts him on hold. This the whole room just bursts out laughing. Like, all right.
All right, drive a hard bargain.
Johnson, I don't know. I mean, he's pretty good. Can you give me some picks with DeAndre Hopkins?
And the background just like cracking up. It's like, he gave him picks. Oh my god. Yeah. Anyways, I put up the new projections as we compare against.
Yeah, I guess we got new projections. These are less to see how I'm doing, but more to just see how people are playing. So Malibu's making the playoffs. You're making the playoffs. Malibu's winning. I don't even have a 1 in 1,000 chance anymore of winning the division. That sucks.
You are at 22% chance to make the playoffs, and 0% to win the division.
Yeah, 1,000 simulations. Not one of them did I apparently win the division.
Well, I mean, Malibu's also 7-0 right now.
Oh yes. So yeah, there are certain teams that are definitely making it. South Park looking real good in that playoff percentage there.
Yeah.
Currently, the division is a 3-way tie in terms of fantasy points. In terms of victory points, South Park is tied with Enniscorthy. Projections standing by their original hate of Mark's team.
Keeping them down.
Just keeping them down. Not only he's down to 19. He's a clear third place in this, despite currently being in first place. So
these projections say that Mark's only going to win 2 more games.
Is that what it's saying?
Right? Because he's won 4, right?
His current 4-3, yeah, but it says expected record is 6
and 7. That's wild.
Yeah, he's expected to go 2-4 going forward, and he currently has 13 victory points, so he's expected to be in the top half in 2 of the 6 games.
Well, who's he playing? Let's see if this makes sense, because he might have some tough games coming.
Well, 3 of the games will be against his own division.
Yeah, so he's got Jersey, which will be. I mean, he's got West Waco, which will be tough. He's got me after that, which will be tough. Then he's got Jersey, which is, I still think, a better team than the record shows, because they tend to put up points. But and then Hollywood, South Park, and then Chicago. So it's possible.
The Chicago game is the only one where you're like, yeah, you should win that.
Yeah.
The rest of them are like, it's going to be a battle. So going 2-4, it's a distinct possibility.
It'll be really interesting if this proves to be right. But it's just never has for any of Mark's teams, so I just don't believe it.
It's real bad with Mark's teams.
I just don't believe it, yeah.
So Scranton fighting for that wild card. Good chance of it right now. They're the favorite, but they're going to have to fight off people in the Jet Setter division. It doesn't look like Washington or Jersey are going to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. I keep forgetting this is on victory points. So yeah, they right now have the like in the projections have the wild card.
In the projections they have it, and I think even right now they have it.
Yeah, I believe so. They're doing pretty well. Like they're doing better than I thought they would.
Oh no, sorry, they have 12 victory points currently. Right now, South Park is the wild card with Enniscorthy leading the division.
Yeah, but it's real close.
Yeah, but overall, the projections hate Mark's team and they love Scranton. They're giving Scranton. So right now, Scranton's 4-3 with 12 victory points.
Mm-hmm.
They're projecting, let's see here, 7-6. So I guess 3-3 going forward, but also 24 victory points. So if they're getting they're saying 3 of the 6 games they're going to end up in the top half of the league.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's not an overly aggressive projection. That seems reasonable.
Well, that's quite doable. And in terms of divisional, like they'll play, like you said, 3 of the games will be against divisional rivals. I think Washington is I think Washington's probably the worst team in the division right now. And though Jersey is 1-6, what are their potential points? I always felt like their potential points. Jersey's potential points are higher than Scranton's. At 1-6, so like Jersey's a sneaky team to ruin some people's weeks.
This is that interesting thing that comes back to them trading draft picks, because now it's in a position where if Scranton doesn't make the playoffs, if someone from Jet Setters gets in instead, Jersey wins that trade, at least for this year.
Do they though? Because their victory point difference is huge.
The difference isn't that big. It's a 40-point difference currently.
Is it? Sorry, it's on potential points, not victory points.
Yeah, it's on potential.
Right. Yeah.
So ultimately, there, Jersey may end up getting the better of that trade if Scranton misses the playoffs. If they don't, then Jersey did not.
Because Jersey at no point called it. Like I thought that Jersey would be a team that I could really have. I made a trade with them, but the attitude was always still remaining. I kind of want to improve the team. He definitely didn't just call it. Hey, check it out. Chris has commented. I have the other tiebreakers against Mark if I win the next matchup. Okay. The
other tiebreaker. Okay, well, I guess that means he just won the first game.
Yeah. South Park's it's gonna be interesting. I think South Park's probably getting in the play. 81% chance getting in the playoffs. So that definitely looks good.
Now, the real interesting one, Southwest Division. We knew from the beginning this was going to be a competitive division, and still looking that way.
Yeah. San Antonio's the only one that's fell off. We've already explained as to why, but it's going to come down to the wire. Vegas made that trade for that reason, I suppose. I mean, these projections don't take into account that trade, right?
Which trade?
The one that Las Vegas just made.
The one today? No.
Yeah. There's Houston. Right, of course, I downloaded these from before. Houston, West Waco, Las Vegas is going to keep battling it out. This is very interesting. Also, because West Waco doesn't really make trades.
I think that I have a very good spoiler opportunity here. Maybe I make a wild card. It's not likely, but maybe. But I have games coming up against both Las Vegas and Houston.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though I've lost a lot of games, I'm still a team that you gotta sort of prepare for a little bit here.
You definitely do, because your team, your team has the running back hole wasn't as bad as it seemed because you played that fairly well. Antonio Gibson's been great. Mike Davis has been great covering for CMC. When CMC comes back, it's going to be a little bit fucked.
At the same time, my wide receivers, which are supposed to dominate the whole goddamn league, have been useless. Michael Thomas has been out the whole year.
Yeah.
Tyreek has been pretty good, but nothing stellar. And
is MT back this week or no?
No, probably not. Maybe next week. But that's been almost the whole season. It's been maybe next week.
Yeah. It's funny because your most of your productions come out of Keelan Cole, Greg Ward. I mean Tyreek Hill, obviously, but the team that you initially assembled was throw the monster money at the monster receivers and.
None of it has paid off.
At some point, you're going to be starting Gronk, right?
I already have started him on several occasions. I think I'm selecting a tight end this week. I'm going with the old 12 offense.
I feel like Gronk and Brady are ready to have kind of found their footing in Tampa together finally.
So it's going to be interesting seeing this division play out and. Sounds
good. So what do we think? Want to try and make some picks out of Ben White?
Yeah, let's make some picks. Oh, my super cheap late harvest wine has arrived.
Oh, fuck! I forgot to buy that.
I'll keep you updated because they sold out, but I think they're going to have another sale sometime soon.
Let me know. That was a crazy deal. I just completely forgot about it once I started thinking about it, and then it was done. I mean, I'm probably going to spend some money on an Oculus Quest soon, so. Maybe not right away, but all right. Let's see. Site projections. I hope everyone set up their lineups once again. So first game on the list. I mean, mine always shows up at top. But let's go with Washington versus San Diego.
Oh, it is game of the week. Malibu. It's clearly your game. Malibu and Pigeon
right. Oh, right, because game of the week shows up at top, right?
It does. And you both haven't lost the game yet, so
this is the game of the week.
Watch it like the fans in attendance at the shitty high school in Berks County. For the game of the year, basically.
I feel like this is why I'm being successful is because of all the Sunny references. that's been the cause of my success. So I'm favored by 28. I think maybe you kick this one off.
I started last time. You're starting this time, and then I get the first choice.
All right, 27 points against Malibu.
Why is Daniel Jones started? Doesn't he have an actual quarterback?
He has Kyler Murray who's on bye. So I'm getting a little bit lucky on buys for his end. It might hurt me if Aaron Jones doesn't start. It seems like he probably won't.
Almost started last week. The fact that he's questionable is weird.
No, from what I was reading, it sounded like they might be just being super cautious with him.
Malibu's also got some injuries at running back, which isn't helpful. So he's got Tony Pollard in there.
Yeah.
This is a weaker than standard lineup.
Yeah, he's got hit with. He had some bad bye week situations against me. It's not a good week for him to have those bye weeks because obviously Kyler Murray
and Terry McLaurin are both on bye.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm gonna say I cover this. It's 28. Yeah, I'm gonna say I cover it. It's close though.
Yeah, Wentz against that's huge. Wentz being against Dallas.
Is anyone back this week on the offense or is it still going to be Greg Ward, you son of a gun, and Travis Fulgham?
Yeah, it's still. What's his favorite? Reger's back this week.
Reger's back. I knew someone was back.
Yeah, to be determined if Miles Sanders is, but Reger is.
Yeah. Boston Scott looked good, man. Boston Scott looked good.
He looked adequate. Yeah, Malibu's got a good team, but it's not a good week for him. I'm with you. I'm saying that you cover this. 28 points?
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's a lot.
All right. Hey, who is Harbaugh playing? Because sometimes it really comes down to the
Steelers.
Yeah. Oh, and Mike Tomlin. Oh, man. So who is going to win the Baltimore?
I completely missed that he's starting Mike Tomlin. That's hilarious. Who's who's San Francisco playing? Oh, right now I've got the KCC defense starting. Against the Jets. Right. That's why.
All right, yeah. I am sticking with you.
All right. Next up, we got. Oh shit! I went into the previous.
Washington versus San Diego.
Okay, Washington favored
by 32 points.
By 32 points.
Yeah,
San Diego. That's interesting because Washington has not been doing well.
They have not. The 32 points is also having Chris Godwin and Emmanuel Sanders in there at 0. So let's maybe adjust this a little bit when I look at
San Diego.
San Diego, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nobody.
That's the thing with this league is teams aren't as deep because of the way that the auctions all went.
Yeah, sign more than 4 wide. I guess there's people on Taxi Squad who could be coming up, but let's maybe adjust this minorly to 25 instead of 32.
Yeah. Assuming he makes some moves or does some things.
Yeah, you can call someone up from the practice squad.
We start a complete team.
What is going on with Joe Mixon? I was wondering this when I saw him before too. Still absent from practice.
Joe Mixon not present for practice 3 hours ago. Who
is Isaiah McKenzie?
That doesn't sound like a football player.
Well, didn't sound like a wide receiver.
For Buffalo?
Yeah, news to me too.
This is rough. Why? John Brown's playing. Stephon Diggs is playing. Is he the slot? No, that's Cole Beasley.
Yeah.
Huh.
And there's also that rookie guy who's been doing pretty well. So Isaiah McKenzie is no better than 5th on the depth chart at wide receiver.
Which rookie guy?
I don't know. It's a late round rookie who's caught a few passes for them.
I'm curious now. Anyways, you do your brain thinking.
You know what? Despite the Joe Mixon problems, the fact that they're starting some guy who may not catch a pass, I'm leaning on Pat Mahomes. I think. Let's see who he's playing. Pat
He's playing the
gets
Jets.
I'm leaning on Pat
Playing
Mahomes,
the Jets.
but I'm going to say that I'm picking Washington here.
There's a good chance this is a week that Pat Mahomes they just sit him in the fourth.
Yeah, he might just not have to throw anything because they've just ran in a million scores.
Yeah, exactly. Playing the Jets. So all right, so you're picking
Taking Washington.
Washington to cover.
San Diego's my rival. I can't believe in them.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I gotta pick Washington. I think Pat Mahomes might have like a 50-point game.
Next up, Scranton versus me. Scranton is favored by 15 points.
Okay, so Scranton favored by 15 against the Coopers. I'm gonna believe in you, Phil. I'm gonna say you actually win this game.
Big mistake, Jam. I'm all on board the Scranton train.
That's gonna be your lock.
It might be, but I don't know. I mean, it is a 15-point difference, and my team has actually been pretty good. But I look at my lineup, and I don't understand how my team has been pretty good. But they're scoring points, so
I feel like this is going to be the game where when you bet against yourself is when your opposing team is going to score like an unusually low amount of points. Oh, fuck. Hold on. They got Clyde Edward-Helaire going up against the Jets. That's going to be rough.
Yeah, but the counter to that is DK Metcalf is up against the 49ers, who is one of the best defenses in the league.
That's true, yeah.
And what else we got here? Okay. And Ben Roethlisberger going against Baltimore. So
I think that what Greg Ward's being projected for in this is pretty low considering they're playing the Cowboys. Rager's back though.
All right. Well, I'm taking Scranton. All right. Let's done.
Take Scranton. All right. What's next?
Cows versus Gamblers.
Cows are favored or Gamblers? This should be a close one.
The Gamblers are favored by 2.
Okay, so Las Vegas. Wow. Damn close. Las Vegas just made that trade. Will that be the difference maker?
I mean, that's already in these score
lineups.
projections.
Okay. So we got Lamar going up against Pittsburgh. Zeke against the last game. Like the Giants ran pretty successfully against the Birds, and I was a little disappointed.
Elliott always kills us. Usually the Eagles' defense is actually pretty good against the run, not the pass, but Elliott just always destroys us.
Mm-hmm.
Fulgham would probably have a pretty damn good game against the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Cooper Kupp against Dolphins? That's a promising matchup. Cole Beasley, by the way, one of the top receivers in the league so far this year.
Yeah, man. Cole Beasley, he was really good last year too.
He always does something.
He likes. They have a good connection. Him and Josh Allen. Josh Allen looks for him.
Really hard to go up against Wilson and Kamara, but outside of those two, I'm going to take Las Vegas here.
Chris is so scared of that Bears run game, which Las Vegas just traded for. So you're going with Las Vegas?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with Cows. Go get them. Go get them, South Park. I mean, for this particular game only, because you're still my rival.
It's going to be interesting if you actually look at the matchup graph too. Why it's going to be interesting is on Sunday night they're supposed to already going into the Monday game be basically right with each other, and then going into the Monday game they're supposed to have a similar amount of points scored on Monday. So it's going to be like an up and down thing all night, and it could be interesting if the projections play out as expected. Yeah,
it'll be like you really need these projections to play out that way for this to make sense, but really interesting. You usually don't see a curve like this.
Yeah, other than the late games where I think South Park has more people playing Sunday night, but not many in the late afternoon games. This curve almost overlaps.
Yeah. All right.
Next up, we have Ennis Corthy and West Waco.
And what?
The line in this one is 23 in favor of West Waco.
Waco by 23. See what we got going on over here. Why did I think that Enniscorthy didn't have a great team? Hasty's gonna get some more run because of yeah, probably. Henderson's been really good.
It's interesting because the other side has Jarek McKinnon.
Yes, it really comes down to who. It really comes down to who ends up getting the run.
They're at the mercy of my coach.
Bad head coaches both ways, so zeros coming out both of those. Interesting. Denzel Mims, is he back?
Yeah, he's back.
Huh. Let's see if Luis was right. Calvin Ridley, George Kittle, and Travis going up against Travis Kelce. This is an interesting matchup.
Yeah, the big difference is in the defense.
Yeah.
West Waco has a much higher projected defense than Enniscorthy does.
I like West Waco's defense. Yeah, I'm going to go Waco.
Who's Aaron Donald playing? That is what's going to do. Ooh, Dolphins.
Oh, against Tua. Welcome to the league.
Yeah.
Tua's mobile.
Sacks right there might be all he needs to. At the same time, I mean, who's Tannehill up against? Bengals? That looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
Tannehill's
been great this season. Like, better than people have been saying.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm picking West Waco here.
It's a bigger spread than I'd like.
Enniscorthy.
You're pulling for Enniscorthy?
Well, of course. I mean, these are the interconference games. You're always hoping for the person in the other conference to win.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Next up, we got Oakland and Jersey.
Oakland and Jersey. This one, it looks like Jersey is favored by 8 points.
Interesting. And I feel like I keep thinking Jersey is going to turn it around because they tend to score. Are you picking first or me?
Yeah, I'm picking first. I'm just taking a look at some
I'll take a look
stuff here. And who's Herbert going to score 50 points against this week? Apparently the Broncos.
He might. Yeah, Broncos have been getting torched.
But the problem is, much like in the other league, Jason just keeps starting Ruggs.
He believes in his boy.
Garrett.
Juju against.
I'm taking Oakland.
Taking Oakland?
Oakland.
Okay.
I've had a lot of good things to say about Jersey in the past, but I'm not feeling their lineup this week.
I'm going to say Jersey. It's very close, but I'm going to say Jersey. So a little bit of difference there. Okay, what do we got next?
San Antonio and Chicago.
Okay, so how much is? Oh, this is two teams that have not been doing well. I'm assuming Chicago's favored.
Let's take a look here. Chicago is favored by 11.
11. This is a sad game.
This is one of those games that's just sort of like on another channel that every time Red Zone goes to it, you're like, come on, no one cares.
Who's San Antonio starting? Sean McCoy, who's like the fifth back on that line. Who's Stafford playing? Colts.
That's tough.
Ooh, I think I believe in the Maesters. I'm going with the Maesters. You got Cordell Patterson as a wide receiver. Josh Allen. Starting his boy Cole Kmet. Actually looked pretty good the last few games. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go with Chicago.
I also will go with Chicago.
Dumpster fire. What are you gonna do?
It's all right.
All right. It's a dumpster fire both ways. What are you going to do?
Yeah. All right. The final one here, we got Hollywood favored over Houston by 20 points.
Hollywood by 20. Hollywood's been a good team this year.
Got a good team there.
Houston's been all right, too.
Houston's been doing all right. And, Andy Reid against the Jets.
Oh, that's a difference maker.
That's points.
Dude, like when I started Flores over the Jets, I think I got like 32 points.
Yeah, and that's not even in these projections. Yeah, I'm picking Hollywood just because of that.
I'm not even gonna overthink this. Like this is the Chiefs. Like the Dolphins destroyed them.
I mean, Green Bay's playing Minnesota, who hasn't been all that great. So there might be some points on the other side too.
All right, those are week 8 picks.
My lock is.
I think that'll do it for episode 10. Anything else to add, Phil?
Yeah, I don't think you're hearing me because you forgot lock. Lock of the week.
Sorry, what was that? I couldn't hear you for a second for some reason.
Lock of the week.
Oh, lock of the week. Sorry, my bad.
And I am definitely taking Hollywood.
Fuck. Yeah, damn it. Shoe-in of the week. What is a very likely one here? I'm gonna go with Mahomes, otherwise known as Washington.
The Washington Mahomes
beats the Redskins.
True.
All right, guys. Hope everybody enjoyed, and hope everyone has a good week 8. Let's see who keeps their undefeated streak alive between myself and Malibu and Ben Wyatt, and hope everybody has some good games.
Mm-hmm.
See you guys later.